6 Sports presents 6 Shining Moments.
Here's the give. Walker! Touchdown! Sparty!
This place, we gotta tell him to slow down. Can't slow down. Why you running so hard? He like, man, I want this.
Our names and jerseys will be in the rafters forever.
The team of destiny has done it!
We're just a real close team. I've had these guys forever, so for these guys to reach their ultimate dream, it's unbelievable.
I mean, for me, it was just hearing from so many players that had played for me.
We're about to do something incredible here in MSU Athletics.
How about that for by James Pyatt?
The 121st U.S. Amateur Championship, James Pyatt.
2021 was such a breath of fresh air, especially from a sports standpoint. Hello and welcome to what should be a fun hour ahead as we relive some of the best sports moments from the year. As you know, capacity restrictions slowly lifted, and it was so nice to hear the roar of a crowd ripple through an arena, stadium, or even golf course for the first time in nearly 2 years. Our Mid-Michigan athletes and coaches made so many memories, and right at the very top of the list was the day Michigan State golfer James Pyatt hoisted the Havemeyer Trophy into the air. On August 15th, Pyatt's life changed forever when he won the 121st U.S. Amateur at Oakmont Country Club thanks to a 2-1 victory over North Carolina's Austin Greaser. His championship match with Greaser was the definition of a battle because Pyatt trailed the 20-year-old All-American by 3 with 9 holes to play. It also lasted nearly 9 hours, but the Canton native kept his cool to rattle off 4 straight wins to take the lead on 31, and he never looked back from there. His par putt on the 17th green was clutch, and it's how he was able to lock up the title to solidify his name on the wall at Oakmont for the rest of eternity. Talk about a pinch me kind of moment.
I still don't believe I'm holding this trophy right now. I still think I'm dreaming, so it's definitely something, crazy that, internally I thought I had the ability to do it one day, but, to actually do it is the greatest thing ever.
Watching his stud golfer win the 121st U.S. Amateur Championship was one of the greatest moments of Casey Luban's life. In his 10 seasons at the helm of MSU's golf program at the time, he had never had one of his golfers accomplish what Pyatt did at Oakmont that day. In fact, no Spartan golfer had ever won the U.S. Amateur crown. And if you want to take it one step further, no golfer from the state of Michigan had ever won until Pyatt. After his victory, Luban mentioned how Pyatt had been climbing up the sand hill for 8 years, and after suffering some disappointing losses, he wasn't going to let this be another disappointment. So knowing all of that, how did Luban feel when he watched James's final putt go in?
To be honest with you, it was quite ironic. I usually stay pretty far away from the action, just because I'm kind of taking everything in internally. And when he hit the bunker shot 20 feet past, I started walking towards 18. So I wasn't near the green, and then I heard the roar, and, I kind of bullied my way to the front of the line at that point because from Austin's standpoint, what an incredibly difficult putt. 8 feet outside left, so hard to make. Kind of knew it was going to be the moment. And I'm not one who gets super emotional, but when you watch a kid live his dreams, why do you get into coaching? That's exactly why you get into coaching. And to watch an assistant coach who I coached as even when he was a player, to watch 2 young people who I love dearly do something like that, it's indescribable.
Pyatt's U.S. Amateur win made him the most popular man in Michigan that summer, and as a result, he was asked to throw out the ceremonial first pitch at the Detroit Tigers game just 4 days later.
You believe it in the back of your head that you got the potential to do it, but to actually do it and, get to do things like this, throw out a first pitch today, that was the most nerve-wracking thing of the week. Not the USAM, but the first pitch, so it's been a great week so far.
And really the weeks that just kept on getting better and better for him. When he arrived back in East Lansing in the fall to begin his final season with the green and white in September, he was definitely the big man on campus. The weekend prior, before he was back in EL, he was able to hang out with one of golf's most iconic players in Jack Nicklaus at the Alley Challenge. And then there were the messages from Instagram, Twitter, and text. He even left Tom Izzo on red for a little bit.
I got through the text. I'm still going through the emails. And then Instagram has just been kind of a nightmare. I'm like, I feel so bad. There's like people that I'm actually good friends with that I'm like looking, I'm like, oh my God, that was 2 weeks ago now. So it's been, yeah, it's been tough, but one day at a time and trying to stay in the moment too, and focus on this year's golf season. So a lot going on, but it's a good issue to have.
Is it kind of, have you had this kind of fame in a way yet where people are reaching out so much to you?
No, nowhere near it. I mean, just winning Michigan events, you know, you get your mom, dad, a couple family friends texting you like, oh, good work, you know, way to get it done. And then now, you know, you get a national level of recognition from everyone, and just the phone blowing up and doing all this type of stuff. It's been interesting.
This is a lot to throw at a young man, 22 years old. You know, the hundreds of messages, the requests. He continues to make me proud because he's sticking to his values, his character. But yeah, I mean, is it surreal? Sure. We were sitting yesterday talking about a PGA Tour schedule for him. And he stopped me and said, did you ever think we'd talk about this? No, probably not, but your dreams will take you, you know, pretty far if you keep dreaming, and he's done that.
It is amazing what Pyatt was able to accomplish during his time in the green and white simply by believing in his dreams. And it's something his athletic director, Alan Haller, can certainly relate to. The same day Pyatt returned to campus, the MSU Board of Trustees made one of Haller's biggest dreams come true. It's our second shining moment of the 2021 sports year. Stay with us.
Spartan Nation, I'm excited. Please join us because we're about to do something incredible here in MSU Athletics and the MSU community. We need you. Move forward with us. Again, this is my dream responsibility. I love this community. I love this university.
Thanks to a unanimous vote of approval by MSU's Board of Trustees on September 1st, Lansing Sexton graduate Alan Haller became the 20th athletic director in Michigan State's history, beginning a new era of Spartan athletics. The Hall of History was filled with just about every one of Michigan State's coaches for his introductory press conference on the 7th. Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren was even there and at the time spoke about the importance of dreams. Haller was a two-sport athlete at Michigan State. He ran track and field and also played football for George Perlis and knew back then that this was what he wanted to do, thanks to Dr. Clarence Underwood. Mel Tucker, Jackie Joseph, Tom Izzo, and Stacy Slobodnik-Stoll all had a few words to share about Haller that day, and they were dishing out the compliments.
We need the right people in the right seats at the right time. It's the same for our players. They not only have to want it, have to believe it, but they have to live it as well. And Alan does this each and every day.
Alan is a man of character and integrity. He is fiercely loyal to Michigan State. He truly cares about all our teams and our student athletes. He always has. He understands, as well as we all do, that fair does not mean the same, and that everyone deserves an opportunity at excellence.
It is exciting to know that we have an athletic director who understands our culture and our family. I was fortunate to have Alan as a supervisor for 2 years recently, and in that time I saw his dedication to our athletic department, to my student athletes and all of our student athletes and the staff.
You know, since I came up kind of the same way he did, you know, he played football. I worked for Judd Heathcote. We both had our problems, but you know, in doing that, you kind of learn a lot. You go through your ups and downs. You've had success. You've had failure. There's no doubt that we've been through a lot here in the last 4, 5, 6 years. And I think understanding that is going to make it easier to move forward. And I want you to know that the dream big that everybody talked about has been my motto since I came here. And you got to dream it to achieve it.
His short 7 months so far as AD have been eventful to say the least. He was on the field in Atlanta when Michigan State's football team beat Pitt in thrilling fashion to capture its first New Year's Six bowl win since the 2014 season. He hired a new volleyball coach and was definitely on the floor at the Breslin when Izzo surpassed Bob Knight for the most wins by a coach at a Big Ten university. Plus, he was in Seattle to witness MSU's gymnastics team put together a historic season. And when he sat down with us to reflect on those 7 months, Heller said it's been tremendous.
First of all, thank you for this opportunity and honor. This is tremendous. But you know, this is what dreams are made of. The 7 months being the athletic director at Michigan State University. I mean, this has been a culmination of a lot of work, not just from me, but from my parents, the community I grew up in, my coworkers, my former student athlete teammates. Getting me to this point is just a culmination of a lot of work, and this is a dream come true. Every single day I wake up and I get to go in and be the athletic director at MSU. That is so cool. I mean, being in Seattle with that group of student athletes, the gymnasts, and reaching the NCAA regional finals and watching their energy and watching their purpose and their focus and their joy for doing what they're doing, that is a living example of what I want to do every single day. And I want our student athletes to experience that type of feeling. And that's what I do every single day, is work as hard as I can to provide those opportunities.
I think it was great too because there was a picture of you in the crowd and you had a poster that said, you know, Michigan State is a gymnastics school. But that was one thing too when you were hired, is that a lot of the coaches, when they spoke, they mentioned how like you genuinely care for not just, you know, specific athletes in specific sports. You care about all the athletes at Michigan State.
Absolutely. We have 770 student athletes, and I want each of them to be able to maximize their dreams, and I want to support those. And so, yes, we're a gymnastics school. Yes, we're a football school. Yes, we're a basketball school. Yes, we're a golf school. That's where the way I want us to focus and operate, to make sure that we have year-round opportunities for success, and that's really what excites me every single day.
How much did that come from when you were an athlete at Michigan State?
A lot, because I think everyone knows that I was a football student athlete, but I ran track for 4 years. And so I remember my freshman year, you know, going to away games in football in charter jets. My first away track meet, I remember I got to Jennison's Fieldhouse. We were loading the buses. And I got on the bus and I was like, what time does the plane leave? And everybody started laughing and like, you are in your plane. And so I have that 10-hour bus trip to Minnesota experience, and then that chartered flight experience. And really being able to experience both of those environments every single day helps me do what I do as it relates to making sure that I understand the different experiences. And it's important. The experiences are different, but they're all special, they're all valued, and there are things that I can do, there are things that my coworkers can do, there are things that our community can do to make sure that all of our student athletes have the opportunities, because it's not really all about wins and losses. It's not all about championship moments. It's about that everyday experience of building in the 4 or 5 years that they're student athletes, building those opportunities so when they graduate, when they leave MSU, they can go change the world.
Right.
Yeah.
And you mentioned dreams, and that was a huge theme throughout your press conference when you were introduced back in September about dreaming big. Kevin Warren mentioned it. You yourself brought it up. And I wanted to go back and reflect too on when you mentioned how your daughter Allison helped you realize that this was a dream that you could accomplish.
Yeah, I mean, it was, working in athletics for the past 10 years at Michigan State, I would always look at, those that were athletic directors before me or around at other schools and think, wow, that is such a big job. I don't know that I could do that. And when this job became open, I had some doubts. And I came home and I was talking to my daughter in the kitchen, and I said, hey, honey, the athletic director's job is open. And I was kind of hemming and hawing, and she's like, well, who's going to get it? I was like, I'm not sure. And she looked at me, she stopped me, and she said, Dad, why not you? And I just paused for a second, and it's like, honey, you're right.
Yeah.
Why not me?
Right.
And so I went after it.
Yeah, it hit you.
It hit me like I can do this, and it was really her kind of steering me into that. You can be the athletic director, Dad.
There's so many people throughout your life that influence you in a situation like this? And you brought up a lot of those people. Your parents obviously played a pivotal role in where you are today, and Dr. Clarence Underwood. What was it about him, I guess, when you were an athlete at Michigan State and kind of under his direction in a sense, that you really thought, okay, I do want to be an athletic director, I want to make an influence?
It's because of not his title or his role at the time, it's because he took an individual interest in me, in my development. And it was an ongoing process of helping me mature and experience the things that Michigan State had to experience in a way that was beneficial to me. And so that individual investment really hit me hard. And you know, Audrey, this came full circle actually today. I was over at spring practice and we were scrimmaging. Connor Haywood walks by and he gives me a handshake, pulls me in, gives me a hug, and says, "Alan, thank you for everything." So that's that Clarence Underwood experience, and that's really what, you know, I want to be very similar to Dr. Underwood's role with me, is making sure that I'm present in front of our student athletes, and my presence is valued and felt. And I'm just not a figurehead that sits in an office and has a title, and it's this mystical figure. I literally want our student athletes to be able to talk to me and have conversations with me, and I want to be in their space.
That too obviously resonates a lot with people. I mean, you have that story today, but at the same time, you know, you can make a bigger impact. I mean, is that how you feel that you can make the athletes at Michigan State proud of their athletic department? Because that was something that was pretty big for you too, is a pride standpoint. Because I know that the athletic department has been through a lot through the last, 10 years.
Yeah, it's the pride comes from, I want our student athletes to understand the history of MSU athletics, but then also individualize their experience to the point where our fans, our support, the MSU community, our donors, when they feel what they feel about Michigan State athletics is pride. And it's the performance on the field and the court and the track, but it's really the performance in the community and how the image and the brand of MSU Athletic is spread in our community. And that's all through individual efforts. That's all through all of us coming together and have a combined vision of who we want to be and what we want to be, being partners with the community, that value-added proposition to the university to make sure that athletics on MSU's campus is aligned with the vision of the university. And that's what we do every single day.
How would you two just describe the overall state of the athletic department right now too?
You know, it's strong. I think we have an employee base that is energetic, loves their jobs. I know we have a student athlete base because I just experienced it in gymnastics. I just experienced it at the Peach Bowl. I just experienced it with our men's and women's teams in the Big Ten tournament. Our student athletes are loving their experience. They're energetic about their experience, their sport experience, but then their community experience, being a part of the MSU campus. And it's that holistic development of our student athletes, competition, classroom, community, and then individual growth. And I think, we're there. And now we just have to continue to build.
Is there anything about the job that has taken you by surprise since taking over 7 months ago? Because with any new role, there's always a little bit of something that pops up along the way.
I don't know if it's a surprise. I think time management. My executive assistant and some of the others that work with me, I'm no longer allowed to make appointments by myself because I double and triple book and I don't manage my calendar very well. But the time management piece, but everything else is what I dreamed about. It's coming in, sitting at my desk, going to meetings, being on the phone, and everything we do, everything I do is pointed to those student athletes and how they can use their experience at MSU to springboard them in life, because that's what happened to me.
Well, one athlete who certainly made sure to make the most of his only season in the green and white was running back Kenneth Walker III. His performance on that gloomy October day against rival Michigan made him a household name, and we're going to relive it when we come back.
Ken Walker, I don't know what else that I can say. This is a huge stage.
Walker. Kenny Walker walking him down
whole world's watching. You got a chance to see what type of player he is, and obviously any recognition that he's getting for Heisman consideration is well deserved.
There are a few adjectives that best describe what Michigan State running back Kenneth Walker III was able to do in late October against rival Michigan. Some would call it epic, while others refer to it as a classic. Either way you look at it, it had never been done before, and it's why his 5-touchdown day to keep Paul Bunyan in East Lansing is the third shining moment of the year. With all eyes on East Lansing, and in his case, the Heisman Trophy was up for grabs. Walker showed the nation just how versatile and dangerous he is. In the second quarter, with the Spartans down 10-zip, he hightailed it into the end zone for his first TD of the day. But the fourth is when he really turned on the burners with a 58-yard run to the casa. Then he took the Wolverines into the deep water with his 5th and final touchdown of the day. No player had ever rushed for 5 TDs against the Wolverines until him, and the emotion on the field afterwards was overflowing.
The whole week, even the bye week, we got to see the history of this rivalry, and it's big, and it means so much to me for us to come out there and win this game.
For you to ignite for 5 touchdowns, a new career high, walk us through that.
It starts off with the O-line every day. You know, they work hard, super hard in practice. Even in the spring, our O-line did a great job. They got extra work in, and it's showing. I give all my credit to O-line.
We know Ken is not going to talk about himself. He's a very humble young man, but you can talk about Ken. What did it mean to see him rattle off those 5 touchdowns today?
Oh, man, it's unbelievable. Ken's my brother. It's my dog. I promise you. He worked for every last one of them touchdowns. We didn't do that in practice. So my finish on the play, while you running to the end zone. This plays, we got to tell him to slow down. Ken, slow down. Why you running so hard? He like, man, I want this. He do. I promise you he do.
This was a huge win for you guys. You knock off number 6 Michigan to solidify yourself in the Big Ten East race. How good of a feeling is that?
Oh, this feeling is second to none. This is something that we thought about. We thought about doing this a long time ago. We thought about doing this a while ago. We thought about doing this for all of y'all, for Spartan Nation. I mean, we got to give credit to the O-line, too. The O-line, they put in the work. They came a long way, I promise you. We've been working. Spartan Nation, we've been working for y'all. I promise you we've been working for y'all.
I'm so thankful for this team. All the praise goes to Jesus Christ. And, man, Ken Walker played a heck of a game, and so our defense, our offensive line. It was fun.
I was going to ask you about Ken. 5-touchdown day for him, a new career high. What makes him so explosive in that way?
Man, I mean, what does he not do? He does it all. He really is a do-it-all back. And he's got speed, quickness, great vision. He's got the heart of a lion, and, you know, he's a great guy. I love playing with him.
And you get to keep Paul Bunyan in East Lansing for another year.
Exactly, yep. Ken's going to get some nice time with Paulie B, and so are the rest of us. We can't wait.
Trophy games are the best games, and Lansing Catholic's football team was able to hoist a few of their own this year, but none was bigger than the one Coach Jim Baker held high into the sky at Ford Field. We're going to take a quick timeout, but when we return, we're honing in on the Cougs state championship victory. See you soon.
A lot of these kids I consider sons, and we're just a real close team. I've had these guys forever, so for these guys to reach their ultimate dream, it's an unbelievable feeling. I'm just so proud of these guys.
That's something I didn't really imagine growing up that I could really do, and now that he's head coach and we pulled it off, it's something special that not many people could say they did.
Him being coach, he's one of my Joey Bates, one of my best friends, his dad, so I've been really close to their family, so it just feels great to win one for him.
Lansing Catholic's football coach Jim Baker had some big shoes to fill in 2021 when he took over for the Cougars program from longtime coach Jim Ahern. But with each passing Friday, the Cougs just kept on winning, and before you knew it, Thanksgiving was here and they were at Ford Field. Fans were welcomed back inside for all the finals and all the divisions, and in the Division 6 title game, the number 2 ranked Cougars had to go head-to-head with Warren Michigan Collegiate. Mel Tucker was in attendance to watch his son Christian, and looking back on it, you know he loved the defensive battle in this one. Lansing Catholic took a 9-0 lead into halftime, and that's when the defense put its foot on the gas. Deion Black rolls out. Here's one downfield, and it lands in Dan Shipman's hands. He would take it all the way to collegiate territory. The Cougars forced 5 turnovers to take the Division 6 crown, 16-6. 13-1 is the record they'd finish with to go along with their state championship. Our Ian Kress was in Detroit in November, and what a shining moment for the Cougars.
Hey, Odd, yeah, it truly was a magical night and season for the Cougars. From being an assistant coach at Lansing Catholic for 28 years to winning a state title in 2019 with Jim Ahern and then winning a state title in his first year as a head coach, Jim Baker finished the season as best as he could, especially because he did it with a group of seniors that includes his son. When Jim Baker was named the head football coach of Lansing Catholic in March of 2021, his youngest son Joey was skeptical, in a way.
At first I was a little iffy. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be tough.
I loved it. I knew, for me personally, he's not gonna yell at me like he would at Joe.
Joey was quick to come around and realize his dad was the perfect fit for the job.
I was really thinking, I was like, all right, well, he knows the game plan. We still have the same plays, same all that, same concept. I know he'll be able to listen most of the time. He'll listen to the players. Yeah, but I knew it was a good move for everybody and that everybody would be happy.
I remember when he found out, I was like, dang, Joe, your dad's, and he, he was like, oh yeah, kind of playing it off, but I knew it was going to be great. So, I mean, he's obviously close with a lot of the guys as being the assistant for so long, so we knew there was no problems with it.
Indeed, there was no problem with this group.
They made it really good because I knew we had a good team, and I knew I didn't want anyone else to come in here and have a different system than what we had going. So I think out of loyalty to them, that's really why I wanted to take it.
Ultimately, that loyalty and talent led the Cougars to their second state championship in 3 seasons. And when the clock at Ford Field struck 0 and Lansing Catholic defeated Michigan Collegiate, the father-son duo shared a memory they'll never forget.
That was a lot of emotions that I've been waiting a long time to put out, and he's really got the mojo going, and the chemistry there was incredible. And that was like the final, probably one of the proudest moments of my life this far, celebrating a state championship with my pop.
Yep, it's settling more and more every day. And I think now that the farther away you're from it, the more it kind of hits reality what we accomplished. So it's still pretty exciting, but definitely the farther you get away from it, to realize what a great accomplishment it was.
Of the 13 wins Lansing Catholic had in the fall, it was the lone loss against eventual Division VII state champion Pewamo Westphalia in the regular season finale that sparked a run for the Cougars.
If we don't lose to PW, I don't think we win a state championship, because that gives you a lot of drive, and you really do not want to feel that feeling again. They were a great team, but definitely losing to them sparked us and made us motivated to go in the playoffs.
Towards the end of the playoffs, the defense was playing really good, so we were able to score enough, but the defense played really good.
Even though the seniors experienced the feeling of winning a state title as sophomores, winning it as seniors just has a little different feeling to it.
It's really special, obviously winning in 2019 as a sophomore. That one felt good because it's been a while since we've won the state championship, but just winning it with the friends that I've grown up with my whole life, that kind of felt special to get recognized as the seniors of that year.
In 2019, I was just a scout player, so I was just there for practice and have fun, but this time it's a lot more real. Walking around, little kids look up to you a little bit. They're like, oh, that's Joey Baker, the quarterback. And it's not really like that coming across, but it's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of little kids looking up to you like, wow, I want to be, I don't want to say like they want to be me one day, but they want to accomplish what we accomplished.
What has it been like just walking around as a state champ? Have you had many autographs in a way?
No, I don't get the autographs like Joe.
I know, like, when I go visit my mom's a teacher at St. Gerard, they'll be like, oh, Joey, can I have your autograph? And I'm like, man, that doesn't mean anything. But all right.
It's just an occasional, you see parents or people that you don't see very often, what Coach was saying, like, oh, congratulations on state championship a while ago. It's like, oh, you kind of remember, like, oh yeah, yeah, it feels great, kind of just, you kind of start thinking about it, and it's kind of just a certain amount of like respect, kind of like pride of what you were talking about of, it just feels great that it's something that we're going to remember the rest of our lives.
It's funny because a lot of people I run into the store that I haven't seen in a long time say, hey, congratulations, and I had so many people over like 3 or 4 people this week, and I went to the Grand Ledge and that knew from high school and said, hey, congratulations, we were watching you. So that's kind of special. You know, next year is going to be tough. You know, every year we start with a different slate of kids. We've got a lot of good kids coming back. We're definitely going to have some holes to fill, but I think the kids are ready to go. They're working hard so far, and now that spring break's over, we can really go ahead after it.
And to give you an idea as to how much of a family the football program is at Lansing Catholic, the Cougars held a ring ceremony this week for the state title, and everyone from the players to the bus driver to the water boy received a ring. Audrey, back to you.
Thank you, E. Just an incredible season and day for the Cougars, one we will never forget either. Just like we'll never forget the day Michigan State women's basketball coach Susie Merchant secured the 500th win of her career. We're going to relive it after the short TO we're going to take. See you soon.
One thing I'll say is to get all 500 of them, I'm really blessed that all 500 of mine came in the state of Michigan where I'm from. And that doesn't happen in our business very often. So, you know, and to do it here at Michigan State, growing up wanting to be a Spartan, I think, you know, and just feel blessed and grateful, you know, for this opportunity and to stand here. And, you know, it was fun to, you know, fun to see all those little 500 signs.
It really was a sight to see everyone inside of the Breslin Center wave the 500 signs in the air to celebrate MSU women's basketball coach Susie Merchant and her 500 career wins. The Spartans beat Valparaiso 73-62 at the Breslin Center on November 16th to make it happen. Nia Clouden led the way for the Spartans with 18 points, and after the game, Merchant was greeted by her husband Gary and 2 boys, Ty and Brady. What was even more special about this season for Merchant is she would become just the second coach in the history of the women's basketball program to reach 300 wins, and it happened 3 days after number 500. Thanks to a 100-60 win over Bryant, Merchant joined former Spartan coach Karen Langland in the 300 win club, and getting the messages from her former players and their parents was her favorite.
I think about those 500 wins, and I mostly think about, for me, it was never that game or that victory or that championship. It was about the people first, you know, and I think that's kind of where, from staff that worked for me to players, I mean, that's kind of what it was all about.
Did you have any specific player's face sort of like pop into your mind at all when you know, reflected on it?
You know, I thought a lot of people from every place, like Saginaw Valley, certainly. I mean, that's where it gave me my start, and you know, a couple people there that, you know, made a huge difference, and you know, kind of where they're at in their lives now. I mean, one's married with, like, one of the person I was thinking about was married. She got 5 kids. She's like an Orange Theory person. Like, she's just killing it, you know, as a mom and as a wife, and, you know, in the world. So it's just, I don't know, it's just very interesting. You know, you reflect. I thought back to, you know, Eastern Michigan and winning a couple titles there, and, you know, just everybody tell me don't take that job, to then turning it around, and what that took, you know, collectively as a group and my staff. You know, I started my Eastern Michigan career. We didn't have an office for me, so I was like in the copy room, and it was in the front of the baseball office, and baseball players used to come in and thought I was a secretary for them, and Jake Boss was like the assistant then, so I used to be like, oh, Jake, you have a visitor here, how else can I help you? So I just kind of chuckle back to think about what some of those 500 wins were and what I endured, from, you know, sleeping in a tent, recruiting to get players because I didn't have a budget, to, you know, like where I am now. So getting on, you know, private planes and going to fly and see a kid.
You know, you think about coaches who have been a part of this program. Karen Langland obviously was a huge factor in Michigan State basketball. So to have, you know, your name in the same sentence or same paragraph in terms of the accomplishments, what does that mean to you too?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I grew up idolizing her. I wanted her to recruit me. I came to the games when I could. You know, there's a couple people from Traverse City, that, where I'm from, that came down and played on her teams, and the kind of that Northern Michigan flair when she was here. And, you know, she does it with class. She did it with integrity. I think she did it at a time as well that I appreciate when it wasn't as glamorous. There wasn't as many resources. The money wasn't a big deal. You didn't have a lot of staff or resources on the women's side. And I mean, she truly, genuinely did it for the love of the game. And I believe I do too, but I'm just saying now there's just it's a little different now. There's a little more publicity. There's different challenges certainly, and she had a lot of them. But, you know, I feel like I have an opportunity because of the sacrifices that she made, you know, along the way, and her staff and some of those players. I mean, they weren't getting on private planes, and they weren't having, you know, training table meals with personal chefs that Izzo got us. I mean, we wouldn't have that if Tom didn't let us have it. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I look at a collective group, and she was someone that I think as a female really, she did it the right way.
Yeah, the Breslin Center has been a part of many magical moments over the years, and like Merchant, the Williamston boys basketball team was able to post a monumental win on the floor this year. As they say, good things come to those who wait. We'll be back. Welcome back. The aftermath of winning a state championship has definitely sunk in a bit more now than it did right after the buzzer went off for the Williamston boys basketball team. The Hornets dreamed of making it to the Breslin Center before the season even started, and when they got there, Grand Rapids Catholic Central certainly made them work for it. GRCC sent the game to overtime, but in OT, Mason Docks delivered the dagger. With 1:48 to play, he knocked down the corner tray for 3 of his team-high 27 points, which helped the Hornets pull away and win it 68-65. After the game, they said it was their ability to stay calm under pressure that sealed the deal. Williamston's 27-0 finish is our final Six Sports shining moment of the year. And Nick, this was something they saw coming.
Yeah, they kind of knew they were going to be good because 3 of the Hornets' starting 5 are playing Division I basketball next season. But they weren't going to let all their talent do all the work. It was their preparation which led to glorious perfection.
Wrestling on the inbound. Round. No! The team of destiny has done it for the first time in 82 years. The Williamston Hornets are state champions.
When sitting down with the Williamston Hornets, one of the first things we wanted to know was, has it set in yet?
You know, I don't know if it really has like 100% because you know, every time I look at it, or I know when Jay looks at it or Max looks at it, like we see any post on any type of social media, we're like, wow, like we really won it. You know, we always say that. You know, whenever we see something about it, it was like, wow, we really did that. So it's still crazy to think about, but it is starting to set in a little bit. You know, you have everyone, you know, coming back to school even makes it, you know, you feel it a little more. You know, teachers, all teachers coming up to you saying congrats, all the students, you know, you got banners up. You know, you know, it is starting to set in, and you can really start to feel it.
To know that our names and jerseys will be in the rafters forever and stuff like that, it's a great feeling knowing the community has our back. I mean, everywhere we go, it's always just with open arms. It's great.
Yeah, that's part of the surreal and disbelief that I still have that this happened, because I honestly don't have words for that. I don't have words, emotions to describe that. It's just over the top happiness and joy that everybody gets to share in this.
Going back in time to the last Williamston boys basketball team to win a state championship was in 1940, when this group of Hornets reigned supreme. And 82 years later, this was perfect motivation for Coach Lewis to use before the state championship game.
I laid that picture down before we left on that bus of that 1940 team, and I said, stare at it. And I said, what do they have? And somebody said, a championship. And I said, that's what we're trying to get tonight, but what else do they have? And I said, immortality. And I said, you guys want immortality? It's right in front of you guys. You know, you'll never be forgotten here, and we can do something that you don't even imagine the repercussions of, you know, of that happening, and that's what they did. So that surreal feeling is kind of the legacy that these guys will leave. Is it's overwhelming, and you kind of can't comprehend it for a while.
each team is going to try to compare to us now. It's kind of a good feeling. But I mean, in 30 years, people are still looking at that photo, trying to get their state championship. So it's really awesome to see.
Hopefully, it doesn't take that long.
Hopefully,
until the next one.
Yeah.
As the state title game went into overtime, Mason Docks, the Hornets' leading scorer, had been in a similar situation 1 year earlier when he played for a high school in Houston.
You probably don't know this, and many people don't know this except my close friends who watch a lot of my games in Texas. In our playoff game, we were kind of deep. We were like 4 rounds or 3 rounds deep, and that game went to 5 overtimes. And we ended up losing off we lost by 2 or 3. And so when that first overtime hit, I was starting to get flashbacks, and in my head, during the game, I was thinking about it. I was like, I'm not doing this again, where we keep doing overtimes, and we end up losing. I was like, I'm not losing. So I did keep telling myself that a lot during the game, and I think it ended up working out.
Wow, I did not hear that. That's crazy.
I knew once that game flashed in my mind when I heard he was going to come back, I thought about that 5 overtime game and how probably, that was really devastating to him. I knew our team was still wounded from our regional final loss here, and I said, woo, you put that together, it's not going to be hard to get these guys to focus.
As the Hornets focus on what they've accomplished with the perfect undefeated season, there was one more message Coach Lewis wanted his guys to never forget.
I just said, hey guys, you're too young to know this, but the souls in this locker room are bonded together forever with what you guys just did.
These guys will be a part of my life for probably the rest of my life, so it's great to know that these guys will always have my back in situations. It's great.
We're just a really close group of guys, just 10 seniors. Not many teams have that many seniors on a team ever, and then to do as well as we did, for all of our last years, it's just really special. And I think everyone on the team, it's just a season that none of us are ever going to forget.
Well, some of the things that the Hornets told us they'll never forget are the simple moments, like just going out to eat or joking around the locker room. And a moment we'll never forget is when this team from Williamston never wavered or lost sight of the goal of becoming champions. Aude, back to you.
Yeah, they really didn't. They believed in themselves the entire year. Congratulations to the Hornet boys basketball team. Once more, we'll be back. Before we say goodbye tonight, I hope you've enjoyed spending the past hour with us. Our athletes and coaches here in town are truly an inspiration, and from all of us here at 6 News, thank you for letting us share those stories and the shining moments in your communities that mean so much to you, because it means the world to us. Good night.